which ended the 30th of September. We had 153,858 troops trained at the Gap. And that was about a 20,000 man increase over last year, which is fairly significant. Our metric that we always follow, I've talked about, is man days. We were 860,000 man days plus, which is a tremendous year. Sally, we're resuming our big boom training in the corridor. Those hours that we generally fire from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. 10 through 14 October, we're going to have field artillery training. We're going to follow that up with more field artillery training the 19th through the 20th, and then finish the month off on the 28th through the 31st. Appreciate our neighbors' patronage with our big booms. It's critical training that we need to do, live training, so we have that. Just remind everybody we have the second busiest heliport in the United States with Bureau Army Airfield, averaging well over 1,200 flights out of there a month. So critical training for our guard pilots occur out of there. We try to keep a lot of the low-level flying up on the other side of the Blue Mountain. And we have dark skies up there, fewer people, so it's a critical area for us. This past weekend, we had our 7th annual March for the Fallen to honor the, excuse me, the fallen of the Pennsylvania National Guard 28th Division and all Pennsylvanians. We had over 686 marchers in it this year, a very successful event. Continuing it on next year. Matter of fact, the date for next year is the 28th of September, 2019. So we look forward to having you all there. Just had our Military Affairs Committee meeting for the Lebanon Valley Chamber with a lot of our other veteran military-related partners. Of note, our main partner on post, the USO. They've got a couple very good programs they put on. One of them is Thanksgiving food for families, for military families. What they're looking for is donations, obviously. They put them in the form of $25 gift cards. They're also looking for donations from some sponsors to give away turkeys. A lot of our younger soldiers and whatnot are in financial need on occasion. It's a great way to help them out. Also for Christmas, they like to do a program. There'll be more information that they can provide on sponsoring military families for Christmas. They do that anonymously, and it's a very good program. Going on with our partners next door with the VA, as of today, they always give me the amount of interments in the cemetery. This always gives you the magnitude of the treasure and very solemn place we have with the VA cemetery at Indiantown Gap. As of end of the month, they have 41,428 interments in that cemetery. So, very large cemetery. It's for the Mid-Atlantic. And in addition to that, they have 11,000 dependents that are interred there with her. So, in many cases, the spouse can be interred with their spouse who is a veteran. So, very, very nice thing. Other than that, that's all I have for the commission, pending your questions.
Gordon?
Dave, just technical, you referred to man days.
Man days.
What technically is a man day?
A man day is if we have Gordon come out to the Gap and train for one day, that's one man day. So on that cumulative cycle for a day, if we had everybody in the room came and that's 20 people, that adds 20 man days. That's the metric that we use, or the Army uses, to fund us of how much use we're getting for the Gap. But Gordon can be, if Gordon came 2 days in a row, that's different than what we count where I give that 153,000. You only get counted as once.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? It took me many years, Gordon, to figure that mathematics out, and I did take calculus in college, so. But that is a big metric.
Dave, just as an aside, now that you mentioned the cemetery and so on, we had recently had a meeting of our car club at the J&P Winery, and Josie and I were talking to a couple of our members there about how wonderful the Gap was and the cemetery and the memorial and so on, and a couple of the folks left the meeting that day and went to the Gap, and Josie and I got a real nice letter of how beautiful it was, how wonderful it was, and thanking us for suggesting that to them. So,
And a lot of people I mentioned that with the Gap, because even though in bracket 95, the cemetery dates back about that time that there was a piece of the Gap that was realigned to the Veterans Administration. But how often I go around in the communities, municipalities, people consider that cemetery as part of the Gap, even though it's another federal agency. Right. But the VA are very great partners with us as an adjoining federal agency, work hand in hand with them. Our Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, we provide a lot of the honor guard for funerals over there. Very, very wonderful place.
Yep, very nice. Any other questions, Commissioner? All right, Dave,
thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and giving us an update.
My pleasure.
Yes, Martin.